Fast food. In 1970s, America was everywhere, but it wasn't what you think. There were no calorie counts on menus, no concern about trans fats or processed ingredients. Families pulled into McDonald's parking lots in wood-paneled station wagons, walked through glass doors, and ordered without thinking twice. A hamburger cost 30 cents. A meal for a family of four might total $3. The food was hot, fast, and affordable. Nobody talked about obesity or health risks. Fast food was just food. And for millions of American families in the 1970s, it became part of weekly routines, road trips, and childhood memories. Let's step back into that world. McDonald's was king. The golden arches were everywhere. By the mid-1970s, McDonald's had become more than a restaurant. It was an American institution. The menu was simple: hamburgers, cheeseburgers, Big Macs, fries, and shakes. That was it. No salads, no wraps, no premium sandwiches. Just burgers and fries done the same way at every location across America. Prices were shockingly low. A hamburger cost around 30 cents, a Big Mac was 65 cents, a large order of fries, maybe 35 cents. You could feed your entire family for under $5. For working class families, this was revolutionary. Going out to eat was no longer reserved for special occasions. The restaurants themselves had a look: orange and brown color schemes, vinyl booth seating, formica tabletops, fluorescent lighting overhead, and always the smell of frying beef and salt hit you the moment you walked through the door. Having your birthday party at McDonald's was a big deal. Many locations had party rooms, separate areas with tables decorated in bright colors and McDonald's branding. You would invite your friends from school. Your mom would call ahead and reserve the room. McDonald's provided the food: hamburgers, fries, and soft drinks. Sometimes a birthday cake, though often families brought their own. The highlight was when Ronald McDonald showed up. Not always, but sometimes. He would lead games, make balloon animals, and pose for photos. Kids loved it. For parents, it was easy. No cleanup at home, no elaborate planning. Just show up, eat burgers, and let McDonald's handle the rest. The party favors were simple: a small toy, maybe a McDonald's branded hat or a balloon. But for kids in the 1970s, this felt special. Having your party at McDonald's meant your parents cared enough to take you somewhere fun, and eating fast food with your friends felt like a real celebration. Many McDonald's restaurants had outdoor playgrounds, metal equipment, a slide, a jungle gym, maybe a merry-go-round. The structures were painted in bright reds and yellows, matching the McDonald's color scheme. But by today's standards, they were dangerous. Everything was metal. The slides burned your legs in summer heat. The jungle gym bars were hard and unforgiving if you fell. There was no safety padding underneath, just concrete or wood chips. Kids would climb high, sometimes too high. You could easily slip, scrape your knees, or worse. But parents let their kids play anyway. That's just how it was in the 1970s. The play area made McDonald's more than just a restaurant. It became a destination. Parents could sit inside, finish their coffee, and watch their kids through the windows. Kids burned off energy before getting back in the car. It worked for everyone, even if the playgrounds were rougher than what we consider safe today. Smoking was allowed in all fast food restaurants. There were no designated smoking sections yet. That didn't happen until the late 1970s or early 1980s. People smoked while eating. Parents lit cigarettes after finishing their meal while their kids played outside. Teenagers working behind the counter would take smoke breaks in the back, so it was completely normal. The smell of cigarette smoke mixed with the smell of fried food. Ashtrays sat on every table, glass or metal trays stamped with the restaurant's logo. Nobody complained. Nobody thought twice about it. Smoking was just part of American life, and fast food restaurants were no exception. Looking back, it's hard to believe, but in the 1970s, the idea of separating smokers from non-smokers in restaurants seemed unnecessary. Health concerns about secondhand smoke weren't widely discussed yet. Smoking was simply accepted. Everything came in styrofoam: the Big Mac box, the quarter-pounder clamshell container, the coffee cups, even the plates for breakfast items. Styrofoam kept food warm, and it was cheap to produce. McDonald's used it everywhere. Nobody talked about environmental impact. Recycling wasn't a mainstream concern yet. Styrofoam went straight into the trash after one use. Landfills filled up with it, but that wasn't something people thought about in the 1970s. Convenience mattered, and Styrofoam was convenient. The containers had a satisfying weight to them. They squeaked when you opened them. The burgers inside stayed hot, insulated by the thick foam. By the late 1980s, environmental activism started targeting styrofoam packaging, but throughout the 1970s, it was standard. Every fast food chain used it. McDonald's had competition. Burger King advertised that their burgers were flame-broiled, not fried like McDonald's. Their slogan, "Have it your way," emphasized customization. Burger King let you remove pickles or add extra onions. McDonald's didn't. Wendy's entered the market in 1969 and grew through the 1970s. They focused on quality over speed, advertising that their burgers were made with fresh beef, not frozen. Their square patties made them stand out. Dave Thomas, the founder, appeared in commercials emphasizing freshness and better ingredients. The "Where's the beef?" campaign would come later, but Wendy's was building its reputation in the 1970s. Other regional chains competed too. White Castle in the Midwest, In-N-Out in California, local drive-ins and burger joints. But McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's became the national giants. Prices stayed low across all chains. Competition kept everyone affordable. The drive-thru was revolutionary. You didn't have to get out of your car. You pulled up, shouted your order into a speaker, drove forward, paid at the window, and left with your food. It was fast, it was convenient, and it changed how Americans ate. The speaker systems were terrible. Static made it hard to hear. You would repeat your order multiple times. 2 hamburgers and a Coke. What? 2 hamburgers and a Coke. Sometimes you received the wrong order, but by the time you realized it, you were already on the highway. Families used drive-thrus constantly, on busy weeknights when nobody wanted to cook, on road trips when stopping for a sit-down meal took too long. Teenagers cruised through after school. The drive-thru became part of American car culture. Working at a fast food restaurant was a common first job for teenagers. Kids as young as 15 or 16 would apply at McDonald's or Burger King and work after school and on weekends. The uniforms were embarrassing. Polyester, often brown or orange, with a paper hat. But the job was easy to get, and it paid minimum wage. Minimum wage in the mid-1970s was around $2 to $2.50 per hour. By 1979, it rose to $2.90. That doesn't sound like much, but for teenagers saving for a car or spending money, it was enough. You worked the fryer, the register, or mopped the bathrooms. You smelled like grease after every shift. It wasn't stigmatized. Working fast food was just what teenagers did. It taught responsibility. You showed up on time, followed instructions, and worked with your hands. Every shift ended with taking home leftover fries or a burger. It was part of growing up in 1970s America. Calorie counts didn't exist. Nutrition labels weren't required yet. Nobody knew or cared how much fat, sodium, or sugar was in their food. You ordered a Big Mac and fries because it tasted good and was cheap. That was the only consideration. The idea that fast food was unhealthy wasn't mainstream yet. Obesity rates were lower in the 1970s. Kids played outside more. Families cooked at home more often, even if they ate fast food once or twice a week. The concept of fast food as a health crisis wouldn't emerge until the 1980s and 1990s. People ate without guilt. A burger, fries, and a milkshake felt like a treat, but not a dangerous one. Trans fats, preservatives, and processed ingredients weren't topics of conversation. You just ate, enjoyed it, and moved on. The food tasted different, fewer ingredients, more processing, but also arguably better in some ways. McDonald's fried their fries in beef tallow, which gave them a richer, saltier flavor. They switched to vegetable oil in the 1990s for health reasons, and many people say the fries were never the same. Burgers were thin and greasy, cooked on a flat-top grill. Lettuce was always iceberg. Cheese was American, processed and melty. The buns were soft and slightly sweet. Condiments were simple: ketchup, mustard, pickles, onions. That was it. Milkshakes were thick and sweet, made with ice cream and whole milk. They tasted richer than the thinner versions many chains serve today. Soft drinks came in paper cups with waxed interiors. Ice filled half the cup. The soda itself was syrupy and sugary. Everything was designed to taste good, not to be healthy. Fast food made eating out accessible to working families. Before the 1970s, going to a restaurant was something you did for special occasions. Sit-down restaurants were expensive. They required reservations, dressing up, and tipping. Fast food changed that. Suddenly, a factory worker or a truck driver could take his family out to eat without breaking the budget. $5 could feed everyone. You didn't need to dress up. You didn't need to wait for a table. You walked in, ordered at the counter, and sat down with your food 5 minutes later. This was revolutionary. Fast food democratized dining out. It gave families with modest incomes the ability to enjoy meals outside their homes. It wasn't fancy, but it was theirs, and that mattered. Fast food in the 1970s wasn't just about eating. It was about accessibility, convenience, and family time. It was the decade when McDonald's birthday parties became a childhood tradition, when drive-thrus changed how Americans ate, and when teenagers took their first jobs flipping burgers. The food tasted different. The restaurants looked different. And the culture around fast food was different. No guilt, no health warnings, just affordable meals that fit into busy American lives. Looking back, the 1970s feel like the golden age of fast food. Before nutrition labels, before health consciousness, before fast food became something to feel guilty about. It was simpler, it was cheaper, and for millions of families, it was part of what made childhood in the 1970s memorable. The memories are specific: the smell of fries cooked in beef tallow, the squeak of vinyl booth seats, the taste of a milkshake so thick you needed a spoon. The 1970s were the peak of fast food culture, and if you were there, you remember.